Seems legit.
Hello Legitimates, welcome back to my channel. Today is technically day 2, but it's been like a half day, so whatever. But I am running a competition. You can make either my Floozy or my Troll pattern to enter. Today we're obviously doing a Floozy, which is amazing. You can make as many entries as you like. If you don't already own the pattern, you will need to get it from my website. But you can make as many entries as you like to win a prize pack of stuff. I've got some of it sitting over here that you can't really see, but there will be a Tory pocket template, there will be a legitimate mug, there will be some rulers, there will be double-sided tape, there's going to be a whole bunch of physical things that I will send to you if you win. There will be 2 winners. So the first one will be most creatively thought of. So you could do like some really crazy stuff like a patchwork or I don't know, fringing or, you know, whatever you can think of. So there'll be most creative, and then there will be, I'm calling it most fabulous. So whatever like is most eye-catchingly amazing. So there will be 2 winners. And it is open to everybody. Even if you run a business, even if you write your own patterns, everybody can win. So you'll have to join my Facebook group. It is in the description down below. But yeah, so let's get started on this. I have not done the front pocket only because I didn't want the zipper to go through my pretty pattern. But I've done everything else in the pattern. So there's a back zipper pocket. There's a top zipper closure with a zipper end. It's got a slip pocket on this side and it's got a zipper pocket there. So there's, and a slip pocket with a magnet on the front. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this tiny little bag. But every time I make them, they sell really fast. So let's go. Let's get started. I have all my pieces here. Now I am using a cotton canvas. This is from Inklings in the Kraken, but I don't think you can get it anymore. And it's a canvas. So because of that, I haven't interfaced the back of it. And then most of the outside is this very cool textured speckled vinyl. I was feeling purple today, I don't know. And then this is the main outside piece. So I have put interfacing on that one. So with that being said, let's start with the strap. I have folded it over. I am doing all fabric, mainly because I didn't have enough of this vinyl. I am all about removing pieces of fabric from my house, and I need to use up these smaller pieces, and this pattern is perfect to use up the smaller pieces. So I'm just going to stitch down the open end first, or the open side. This ensures that everything's going to be even. If you did this side first and it slipped, then this side wouldn't line up, and that's not what we want. So always do the open edge first. If you hear weird noises in the background, it's just my laser. I can keep an eye on it from here. And I'm doing another bat sign for my website, because you guys seem quite interested in the bat signs. For those of you that didn't see my recent video, it's cutting out a bat sign. I do plan on doing a whole bunch of different signs. I am taking requests, obviously. They take a while. Like, I can only get 1 sign made a day, and that's if I really concentrate on it. So it's on the 2nd cut already. It's still early in the morning, because I got up at like 5 AM and started doing stuff. The 2nd side is always faster, which is awesome, because we don't have to worry about the edge. Trim off all the tails and make sure that you backstitch. That is the strap done. Looks fabulous. We can set it aside. I'm not having it as a removable strap because I don't think it's necessary for this bag, so I will just be doing the rectangle rings on the side instead of D-rings and a swivel clip. It's just a little way to save money on hardware as well. So this is going to be the slip pocket, which is the back of our main piece. So we need the top bit and the bottom bit. I'm going to line them up. We're going to go to a joining stitch length. Now my joining stitch length is 2.5. I know Sandra from the Ghana Sewing Room, her joining stitch length for bags is 3.5. So you've got a bigger wiggle room when it comes to your joining stitch length. I like 2.5, she likes 3.5. Neither one of us is wrong. Please understand that. You do what you feel comfortable with. So we're doing a seam there, and I'm making sure I backstitch at both ends to lock it in. And then I'm going to fold this, and I'm going to stitch the vinyl to the lining piece. I'm going to go back up to my nice stitch length of 4. Stitch, back stitch. I am going to run out of thread soon. This was not a full bobbin. This is a really pretty color though. I'm just trying to think. I think this came from a Quaint Stitch. It's a Tex 45 today, so it's thinner than what I normally use, but it is still really, really pretty. So now these should be the same size. If for any reason one is bigger than the other, you can just trim them down if you did the incorrect seam allowance. It's okay. Don't feel bad if you have to trim stuff down. I have to do it all the time. And it could be, sometimes it's my error, sometimes it's the pattern, sometimes it's the fact that you use a ruler and your ruler is incorrect. Learned that the other day. So I'm going to go back to my joining stitch length of 2.5. Now, I'm pretty sure my pattern said do a 1/2 inch seam. I haven't made this in a while, so I'm doing 1/2 inch. If it's wrong, it'll be fine. It just means this piece is a little bit shorter, which actually doesn't matter because I am not putting on the front pocket because it's going to hide my beautiful pictures. And I definitely centered Dirty Dancing because obviously that's my favorite. Dirty Dancing is my favorite dance movie ever. I mean, and I got Flashdance on here too. It's pretty cool. And Grease, which is also pretty cool. So I'm flattening this out. And if you've got one, you can use a roller and roll it on that seam. What that's going to do is help it get as flat as humanly possible. So when I pinch it again in a second, the seam won't be too thick to stitch through. These are really good if you're on a domestic. You can get wooden versions and all kinds of stuff. I got this off Temu. Was one of my older hauls that I did. So now you can see that that folded on there really, really nicely. So I'm going to top stitch with my 4 stitch length. I'm going to do 2 forward, 2 back. What I'm not going to do is join the whole thing. I don't feel it's necessary today, but you could if you wanted to, unless you're not using the rivet magnet. You need to put a magnet in. I'm going to do a rivet magnet, so it's going to come through, but that's the pocket, and then that's the back. Isn't it fun? I think it's fun. So now we just want to fold this in half, like so. And just crease kind of up the top where we're going to put the magnet, for obvious reasons. And then I'm going to grab this, and you can also grab one of these and punch all the holes at the same time so that they perfectly line up. So to do that, because I'm a bit lazy, you just clip this to here, right? And so now it's all lined up, and then you just pop it under in the center and magnet. I was trying not to cover her head. So now you can unclip it, and the lines should match up bang on. Now, if you're not using rivet magnets, you just lift this side up and just put it through here. Also totally fine. What have we got? I've got some rivets in here. I wasn't sure if I was going to rivet or sew my handle on yet, so I've got a little bit of both here. These rainbow ones I actually got off Etsy. Somebody was selling them in packs of 10, which was convenient for what I needed. So we're going to put the male side, which is the flatter side, onto the flap. And I like to clip these together. And then this side is going to go into the main body. However, because this is just vinyl, I'm going to take, these are little 1-inch squares of base stabilizer that I cut up from like scrappy bits you would otherwise throw out. So you just want to punch a hole through roughly the center. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to put that on as just a little added protection so I don't rip it out of the hole. It has happened. When I didn't do it, I learnt my lesson. I've never done it since. Always put something. If you don't have base stabilizer, you could put a thick piece of cardboard. Also would work. We now need our rivet magnet die set. These are the large magnets. I also have the small, just not in rainbow. And you can't use the same die for both sides. I did try, it's not a thing. So I'm just gonna pop in one side. So this bit divots down, so you want the bit that divots up. And it clicks in place, and then we just squish it. Take out the bottom. This is why it's also good to production source. Moments like this, if you're productioning these as well, it's amazing. You can have different colored hardware and just the same color thread and production sew some bags. This one always magnetizes to it. Don't be weirded out by that. It is a thing. These can go away now because I will most likely need to punch holes again. I always like to keep the hole punch and my 10mm rivet die in them on a permanent basis and then switch it out for all the fun ones in the box. Okay, so that's on. Obviously that's the wrong way, so you can just pivot it around. Now we can baste it in place. Make sure I don't drop all the pieces off my table. Would be a very good idea. So with basting, you can have the long thread, stitch length, or the short one. It doesn't really matter. You just really want to make sure it's lined up. And I'm stitching at 1/8 of an inch. Slowly around the edge. Tucking my elbows in so I don't wreck my shoulders again. I've already got a wrecked toe. We don't need shoulders as well. Pretty. This piece is not done though. So on top of everything else, we are also going to add a Tory pocket. Hello, Nicholas. I think my dog wants to go out. So I'm gonna fold it in half and find the center. This, no, don't push me. I'm assuming you can hear that noise. There's people out on the council strip at the back of my house mowing and whippersnipping and stuff. So, just so I can visually see it, I am going to fold this over and do a small clip in the center bottom. We'll need it later anyway, so you may as well get onto it. And then I'm going to line up that center line with my pocket, and I want to have it about there. There, looks good. You don't want it too close to the top. There is an official measurement in my pattern. I eyeball it. I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's about 1 inch above this line, I'm pretty sure. From memory, I could be wrong. You should probably check the pattern if you want it to look exactly like the pattern. I reckon that's 1 inch. I reckon I eyeballed it, but let's just check. Oh no, I'm a little bit out. There you go. That's 1 inch there. So now we'll clip it onto here so it can't move. I'm going to start in this corner. I'm going to fussy poke it. I'm going to stitch 2 stitches and then back the 2 stitches. That will lock everything in place. I don't have to worry about my waterproof canvas stretching or anything. Sometimes cotton will stretch when you're trying to do stuff like this. You can take the clips off now. We're going to fussy poke the corner again. 2 stitches. Oh, see, that was 3. That's not going to work out. I'm going to trim that off. So I'm going to do 2 again. Lock them in. Go to the other end. Back stitch. Like so. And I'm going to clip off that 1 stitch that went too far because it's going to wreck my pretty corners. So you don't want it there, right? Then we're going to cut this jump stitch and the jump stitch on the back and these tails. Voila! So the reason I draw the sidelines on the box is to give me a better visual guide of where I'm starting and stopping. You don't have to draw those short lines. I just like to be able to see them. So I'm going to fold it kind of roughly in half and make a little snip in the middle of the two lines. Then I'm just going to insert my scissors, cut towards the end, and when I get about 3/4 of an inch from the end, I'm going to triangle out those corners. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. 1 and 2. Flip it over. Now, because this is vinyl, you can't just iron it. If you've made an all fabric one, obviously push it through and iron it. I'm going to take my 1/4 inch. No, I'm not. I'm going to take my 3/4 inch tape. 1/2 inch would also work. And I'm going to put it right next to, no, I'm not. I'm going to do it to the bottom. I don't want sticky tape that close to the top because it's going to mess with me. So I'm going to do 1 3/4 inch at the bottom and 1/4 inch at the top, but I'm going to move a little bit away from the edge to make sure that I catch everything. So you can see this one's right up against the stitching and this one's got a little bit of a gap. That's going to help, I promise. Could I get more sizes? I could. I don't need any more sizes. The 3 lots of sticky tape I've got are more than enough. So I'm going to pull both the backings off. And then I'm going to pick a side. I'm going with the bottom first. I'm going to grab it and pull it through. And then get to that edge and fold it right on the seam like so. The name of the game is not to be able to see the purple from the outside. See how I folded that and stuck it down and you can't see it? That is the name of the game. So I'm going to do the same to the top half. I'm going to fold it right on that edge, and then it will stick down to the double-sided tape. Push it down flat. You can again grab the little roller. You can roll that edge so that just went a lot flatter. Right? Perfect. Can't see any of the purple. It's exactly what we're aiming for. Now, I did debate a lot on the color of hardware to do, but I do think the purple zipper, because it matches the fleck, and then rainbow because it's kind of got a lot of colors in it. Also, use your zipper scissors to cut zippers. Basically, my oldest scissors become zipper scissors until they break too. And then every kind of, like, all the scissors eventually get downgraded. And yes, I do go through a fair few pairs of scissors, and yes, they do eventually die. I don't just throw them out because they're old. I throw them out because, like, they actually break, because my husband is awesome enough to sharpen them for me. Now, if you're new to bag making, this is your friend. It is 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape. So what we're going to do, and you don't have to use this by any means. I usually don't, but I have it, and since this bag's one of the competition bags that I'm running at the moment, I'm going to show you how to get it as best as possible. So we're going to take the 1/8 of an inch, and we're just going to do it about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. You don't want to see this tape. You want it just outside your stitch line, pretty much. You can even have it on your stitch line. The tape that I have on my website doesn't really gum up your needle. So I'm going to lay my zipper head on there, and then I'm going to hold it like this so that nothing flops. I mean, I know it's stuck down, but this bit's still floppy. So I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm just going to lay it over the zipper, and then push it down when the zipper is in the middle. All right? So now I can pick that up, brings the zipper with it. It also means it's less likely to move while I'm doing my top stitching. So all my top stitching is done at measurement 4, which I believe stands for 4 millimeters. I believe that's what the numbers are, but even if it's not, we're at level 4. Needle down in the corner, press a foot up, pivot over the end. Needle down, press a foot up, pivot. And I started in front of the zipper. So I'm going to put my needle down, press a foot up, and then zip this all the way over there. Now I don't have any issues with the zipper. If you need to unstick it and re-stick it, you of course can do that. My brain just went, because you've got the power, which is pretty true. But apparently it's in singing mode because of the fabric I'm using. Good job, brain. So I've just gone over the original stitch and then back stitched, and it just so happened that it landed on a purple flecky bit, so you can't really see the back stitching. You don't have to do like a full inch of back stitching or anything. Just a couple of stitches is good. And then I'm gonna grab the thread zapper today because my other one's flat and I haven't charged it yet. This one takes batteries and the other one is USB chargeable, and I just haven't plugged it in. And I'm currently charging my phone so I can record this. Okay, I've melted the ends down from the outside. This looks amazing. You can't even see where my back stitch ended. I can point it out if you want. It's right there. Barely see it. Back to my joining stitch length of 2.5. I'm going to have it right side up. Fold back this edge. Now we're going to sew this whole pocket shut. So I'm going to start here. Stitch. Oops. That just shifted a little bit. It's okay if it does. It just means that my pocket will be like 1 millimeter smaller than otherwise. Needle down, press a foot up, pivot, up the top. When we get to the top, we're going to back stitch and then trim off the tails. That is the front panel completely done. Does that look crooked to you? I don't know. I don't think so. Alright. We're going to do a Tory pocket on. So I've only cut out 2. I probably need 3. This bag does have a lot of pockets. Let's do this piece because it's something different. This is going to be a slip pocket. So I'm just going to fold it right sides together. I'm going to start in this corner. I'm just doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance because I can. You can do more or less. Slip pockets and stuff are quite flexible in the seam allowances that you do. I'm leaving a gap to turn it through. And then from here, always make sure you backstitch everywhere or it'll just slowly come undone and that'll be annoying. So I'm cutting off more than the 45-degree angle. It's probably more like 60 if I had to guess. Again, I'm guessing roughly. So, push it through. Now being waterproof canvas, I don't necessarily have to iron this either, which will be handy. But what I do like is my turning stick. He hasn't come out to play much lately, but he is awesome. This is a flute cleaner. If you're new to my channel, it is literally a wooden flute cleaner. The metal ones don't work. You punch through the corners. Has to be wood. I did actually used to have them on the website. I think I'm out. I should check that. But I love my flute cleaner. And then we just pull out the very point part. That is the downside. It can't get the super pointy points. Yes, that's a sentence. Just sounds weird. I'm also being pedantic. You could have left it as it was. I just want super, super points. So I'm digging in with the sewing awl and then I'm just kind of flicking it out, or attempting to, like that. I just want to close this top bit. So if you put your fingers inside and pull tight and then push down, 9 out of 10 times that works. Sometimes it likes to be stubborn, in which case you finger press one side and then you just bring the other side to match it. So I'm going to top stitch, but with the normal stitch length along the top here. This is both going to close the gap and have a nice top stitching on the pocket. And it will be noticeable, this pocket, because it's obviously a different color to the lining. This is also a pretty good scrap buster for fabrics. Like if you have a favorite fabric and just a little bit left, you could just put it here and it would still be awesome. No, we need a lining piece. What am I doing? We're gonna grab this one. It doesn't really matter. They're both much of a muchness. And we're just gonna kind of put it in the middle. Like that. Well, we want the actual middle of the top and the bottom. So we're gonna need this center point anyway. You may as well do it now. It's currently my theory on that. And then what we can do is just fold this in half to find the center of this. And then you can line that crease up with the top and bottom points. Right there. I'm just going to hold it in place. You can, of course, clip it in place if that's more of your thing. Up the bottom. And up the other side. And then back stitch. Trim off those tails, flip it over, do the same on the back. That's another piece done. It's just a cute little pocket. You can separate it, but I actually think I'd prefer to keep it like that. Smaller phones will fit in there. You could also make it longer to fit longer phones if you wanted to. The options are yours. So let's take some little pieces. I like to eliminate smaller pieces where possible. So let's do that now. I've got here the base piece. No, I don't. Yes, I do. There it is. The base piece and then the two side pieces. So I'm going to put these right sides together. And I'm still in my joining stitch length. And I'm going to stitch and back stitch. Now I'm going to chain stitch this because it just feels like the better idea. Line it up. So we're going to go inside, outside, inside, outside. Chain stitching saves thread and time, and therefore money. Alright, we don't have to worry about this one because it's not going to overlap where I'm sewing. So I'm going to line that one up along the edge as well. Stick it under, off we go. Cut this one off. Same thing again. So this I want it to look better. So we're going to fold it over. I'm going to open out both these sides. Now if you wanted to, you could put double-sided tape. I'm just going to roll them with this. It'll be enough for me to be able to stitch it down. Up to my 4 stitch length. And then I'm going to stitch 1/8 of an inch from the seam. And I just ran out of bobbin thread. Perfect timing as always. Actually, that's a lie. Perfect timing is never. So these bobbins have a fun habit of undoing on me, as you can just see what happened there. It happens. I just manually roll it back up so I don't waste thread. You could just cut it off, but then the world dictates that karma will take that much thread away from you when you need it a different time. I'd prefer not to play that game. So I was going to say that we don't have to cut off at the first one, but a bit late for that. Stitch, back stitch. Now if it'll fit, you can just come straight to this one and chain stitch this too. It does quite often work. And then I'm going to cut that, twirl this around, and stitch back the other way. And so you can already see that this is sitting a lot nicer and flat. There's no like weird curve at those seams anymore. Now, if you're super worried about bulk and thickness, what you can now do, if you absolutely must, and I don't need to, so I'm just going to do it on one, is cut off that excess. It is not needed. You've got 2 lines of stitching. So if you're worried about bulk and whatever materials you're using, you can trim them away. I don't have to. I just did it to show you. While I'm eliminating pieces, let's do these as well. So these are going to hold my rectangle rings I don't actually need them quite yet, but I want to stitch them. So I've just put the 3/4 inch tape down the center and I'm folding both sides into the middle. Now you've got options. You can stitch the outside edge or the inside edge. I'm actually going to stitch all of it just to be excessive and because it's fun. And sometimes I like a bit of top stitching detail, especially if you've done like a plain color. You might really enjoy doing this too. And you might be wondering, how did I get those lines so even? The simple answer is I use this foot. It's a 1/4 inch wide, so I just lined up the last stitching with the edge of the foot. You can do that too if you have a machine like mine, and if not, you could draw the lines on if you want to, or you can eyeball it, or you can use the plate over here to help you line everything up. World is your oyster. Because while I do this, that's technically at 3/8 of an inch. So you could line it up on the other side as well. That did not need that much stitching. They're tiny little strap connectors. However, it looks cool, so I'm okay with it. These are for these. And while I don't need them yet, I might lose these little pieces to the floor, like I always lose pieces to the floor. So this, like that with a clip on them, means that they can go back into all of my stuff here. So that's the outside. Now these ones you can iron open if you wish to. I'm just going to squish it open. It'll be fine. You can also top stitch it if you want to, like we did the outside, depending on if you want that detail. These are my fun little, I actually don't need these, purely because I didn't put the front zipper on. If I had put the front zipper, we would have put these at the edge of the tabs. These were cute little tabs for it. But since I've decided not to, I don't need to do these bits. But I will explain how I do them. In fact, I'll show you. So this is just an extra piece, and I just cut out the 2 of these little tabs that we need. Then I put double-sided tape on the back. You just need a little bit because they're only little. And then I just line it up onto my bigger piece. Because sometimes with little fiddly bits like this, cutting out all 4 of them and then trying to make the edge match, you usually end up trimming them to match anyway. It is very, very, well, at least for me, it's very common. So what I would do is I would stick them onto here like this, and then I'm just going to stitch around. I'll just do one since I'm not actually using these. Right, so you stitch around it like that, and then we grab some scissors and then cut it out, and this avoids it ever being uneven. I just find that quicker than trying to line up the 2 pieces. And then there's your little tab. Again, I'm not using those, so they can go off to the side. I've got one more zipper pocket here. I'm just trying to decide, do I want it on the back piece to have lots of zippers, or do I want it on the inside? I don't think that's crooked. We're gonna measure it. I think it's annoying me. Nah, it's not crooked, so we're good. It's just my eyesight, whatever. Won't be good forever. So, normally there's a pocket on the, oh, you know what I could do? My brain's having a creative moment. Shocker. We're gonna put it on the back because I'm gonna cut a zipper overlay out of a different vinyl if I can find one that matches the purple. So I'm thinking to get like maybe a dark purple vinyl. And then if I want to tie this in, because clearly I'm just going off on a tangent, it's fine. I do this all the time, especially off camera. I'm like, ooh, what about this? I'm just gonna put the crease to make it a bit easier. So what else I can do is the beautiful little, these things that I just did, if I did them in the same color as the zipper overlay, then it would tie it in a bit more. Because I like it when stuff is matching. Now again, I'm just going to eyeball where I want this. You do not at all have to eyeball stuff. All of the instructions have all of the actual measurements. But if you're a bit more like me and a bit more organically creative, roughly. So long as it's not right near the top, because you've still got to put your zipper, and so long as this isn't hanging off the bottom, anywhere within that zone, totally acceptable. Like if you, see, I just did that again. If you've got an embroidery design and it requires that you make this a bit taller so it'll fit better, you can 100% do that. It's not going to negatively affect the design. It's only a problem when it clashes with other parts of the bag. There we go. There's a few more stitches than I'd normally do, but it's fine. It's also on a longer stitch length. I wonder why it was jumping so far. I like my 2.5. You all will have a favorite thing. You'll have preferred threads and preferred fabrics. Like some people only ever do their insides in waterproof canvas so that they never have to interface stuff. That's great, but it also never be printed, really. There's not a lot of print. I mean, there is some printed waterproof canvas out there. Like somebody should bring out, anybody that's watching that has a business that deals in fabric, someone should bring out a waterproof canvas like this that comes in like spots and stripes in different colors. Or like a mottled, you know, like blenders of the quilting world. Someone should bring out those in waterproof canvas, like a thin, lightweighty one, or even up to 600 denier. I wouldn't go higher than that. Even like a 400 or 500. In fact, I'm going to message the people that sell the plain ones and let them know. Obviously, nobody has to listen to my idea, but like this in like a cool, you know, watermark thing would go with a lot of designs as a lining and be more exciting than plain. That would be awesome. I don't have the room, so before anybody suggests that I do it, because I can feel that will already be a conversation, my new sewing space does not have the room to allow me to sell all my hardware and fabrics and stuff anymore. This room is just not big enough, and there's nowhere for me to extend to. So before you guys are like, oh, just do a reno, there's no space to go. So we just have to make peace with I won't be doing that anymore, and I will give all of my good ideas to others. I'm okay with that, truly. So again, we're just gonna bend it down like we did with the outside. You can do this, you can use the double-sided tape with like your cotton linings as well, but it's just as easy. I do it sometimes so I don't have to stand up, but if you're not recording a video, it's just as easy to have your iron on and iron them flat. And then you're using less double-sided tape. I mean, you're using more electricity, so balance that one out. If this was cotton, I would get up and probably iron it, because I'm going to have to get up and do another zipper pocket anyway. So now that that's done, I'm going to grab this and roll over that edge because I can see it flattening. Definitely a good idea to attack it, like so. Then we'll need another zipper pull, of which I have all my hardware in my little Lord of the Rings bowl. Love my Lord of the Rings bowl. And more double-sided tape. I've got a little rubber band on here. This is how I store all of my tape. I'm trying really hard to like work through it all. I have so much here. So I'm gonna split it just a little bit. Thread one side in. Pinch just underneath it like this, and then I put this finger on top so it can't fling off the top and it can't move down. It's literally stuck where I've put it. And then I'll thread the other side in. And then you just want to even up both sides and push. So I've now got hold of the tape. I've kind of rolled my fingers back like this. So it was holding the zipper, and then I roll it back so it's out of the way, push that down, wrap it around my finger like so, and pull. It takes some practice to do it, but totally worth it. So we also need another zipper. I'm just going to cut it off now while it's here. And I'm going to need another little zipper because I've decided to do an inside one as well. This bag does come with a lot of pockets. You can eliminate a few or a lot. It depends on your needs. I like pockets and compartments, but I don't like too many. I don't know, I'm a bit weird. I'm going to roll it back up. Again, if you want to, you can do the double-sided tape underneath the zipper. I'm just going to do it. Am I going to do it without it? Some wonky looking zipper. The way I've stored it, obviously it's been squished a little bit here. See how that's not sitting nicely? You can iron your zipper tape. I don't know if you know that or not. So I could iron that flat, but it feels like an extra effort. So instead, we are just going to do more of the skinny double-sided tape because it will hold it down and so that the wrinkle won't be an issue. So if you have wrinkly zipper tape and you've tried ironing it once in the past and you somehow managed to melt it all, this is your best plan. And a little roll goes a long way. I'm still on my first one of the skinny stuff. The stuff I go through the most is the 3/4 inch. I love it for all things straps. And apparently just all things, really. It's a good size. Lots of people get 1/2 inch instead, and to them I say, fair enough, that's your jam. But if you've got access to 3/4 inch tape, buy a roll and then tell me how you feel after you've done a bunch of straps with it, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So again, push it down. That took a little bit longer to line up because of the ripples, but we're fine. Decorative stitch length of 4. I'm going to come in front of the zipper, put my presser foot down. I am not going to back stitch because I'm going to go completely around. And we don't want it too bulky where we start and finish. Needle down, presser foot up, zip it out of the way. You can also trim the tails off if they're annoying you. So quite often this bottom one gets tangled and then you've got to sit there and untangle it. And sometimes that's really annoying. So we're going to come, so I'm now in the first hole. I'm going to go forward, back, done. That's it. Just a little bit. And again, can barely, like it's there. See there? Let's put it in the light. You can see it a bit better in the light. See right here? That's the joint. And that's it. Sorry, had to take that phone call. But while I was on that phone call, I cut out another Tory pocket. So it's all for the win. I clearly forgot I was going to do a zipper overlay, but I also grabbed the dark purple and it's just not as good. If I had something more metallic-y, it would be better, but I don't. So we're going to completely close up this pocket as well. You just need to leave one pocket open to turn through. Joining stitch length of 2.5. Stitch down the side. Needle down. Flip. Across the bottom. Needle down. Pivot. And then up the other side. So if you wanted to, you could repeat what's on the front with the back. So you could have a slip pocket on the back as well. You could turn this into a welt pocket instead of a zippered pocket. I mean, your options are limitless, really. Let's start joining some pieces so I've got less. So I'm going to take my gusset piece. I was going to make an add-on where this is completely enclosed, and I just haven't done it yet. I should maybe get onto that. I like this. I actually had one of these bags. It was my personal bag for a really long time. It was a pretty good size for a smaller bag. I personally like big totes because I'm in charge of carrying the whole family's stuff. So totes work better for me. But I did really like this size bag when I was just like shopping by myself. or going to a market, because then I'd actually have market tote bags with me. So you want to start in the center at the bottom. You want to curve your way up like that. Which again is why we always find the center of everything. Working your way out from the center is the easiest way to make sure it all matches. I also checked on my laser. I mean, I can hear it, and I can hear when there's a problem. So if anybody's worried about the laser, please don't. It's not cutting anything dramatic, and I can hear it. So the other thing you want to make sure is that both these sides come up to the same level. Again, measurements in the pattern. So that's one side. You can do the front or the back first. If you've got a printed vinyl and it's directional, think about how you want to attach that. Apart from that, you're good to go. So I am going to stitch, back stitch, bring my other Lord of the Rings ball over here. Love Lord of the Rings. What can I say? Stitch up to the other side, back stitch, trim your tails. Then if you want to, as an added step, we can take our zigzag scissors, which for those that are new here, I do know that they're called pinking shears. I just prefer to say zigzag scissors. Each to their own and all that jazz. Alright, round we go. Chop it up. Then when we get to there, we just kind of veer it off. Excess we don't need. Also, before you start cutting, you should really check to make sure that the edges are fine and that there's no problems. I knew there wasn't, but you know, you should check if you're new to the sewing thing. Let's do the other side. This side will be harder because there's more layers in the front. So just keep an eye on that. Also, I'll be using more clips on this side than the other side, because it's going to try and move more. So especially in the corners, you just want to add some extra clips. You can never have too many clips. If you've never done one of these bags before, it doesn't matter if your clips literally touch together the whole way around. So long as it's secure for sewing, that's all that really matters. I do know that lots of people like to use staples. Personally, not a fan. I did buy a stapler once to do it, and the staples wouldn't go through my layers, so I got very frustrated and quit, and I haven't tried again, because what's the point if I can't staple through all the stuff? But some people prefer the staple method, so I'm not saying don't do it, I'm just saying it didn't work for me. Got it clipped on. See, that's a lot of clips. The thicker the layers, the more clips you need. Lining, generally speaking, I can do without clips, or at least without a lot of them, because it's more flexible and I can control what's going on a lot easier. I like to clean up my clips as I go. I don't like the actual space where I'm sewing to be messy. And backstitch. Check the other side so you can turn it out. I can also just look. You can see if things pinch. Alright, or you can turn it out. This is why I didn't put any interfacing on my vinyl. It's going fine. Hiya! No, our edges are good. How fun is that? That looks good. I like it. So now that I know that it's good, because I checked, like I told you guys to do when I didn't do it, we're going to, again with the zigzag scissors. Now this side will be harder because there's a lot of layers here. There's a lining an exterior interfacing, and part of the bit of the way at the top it's got and vinyl in those layers, and sometimes that's just a lot. So if you can't do this, that's okay. Like if your hands don't allow it, that's okay. Just do the corners, or you can use straight scissors. I just prefer the zigzag ones, especially in corners. It gives more of a give so that they sit nicer. So that's our exterior pretty much done. What we can do from here, if you want to, is grab these. I'm going to attach them to here so that they sit up even taller. So I'm just going to clip that on with 2 clips so it doesn't shift. And then same with the other side, in the center, 2 clips. That's now the exterior done. So we can pop it over there. I've done 1 lining piece, so I can attach this, and then we'll do our final zipper pocket, and then the top zipper. Now in the pattern, I do have a zipper tab end that you can make out of vinyl. I, however, will be using metal ones because I have them. If you don't have them, you just do the fabric ones. Like, it's totally okay. So, clip. So the other way that you can do this, if you don't want to clip, or if you want to test your skills, if you just want to like test yourself, pop this under. I'm going to start here. I'm going to stitch and back stitch. And I'm literally just going to curve around the edge, like this, because I can, and then you flip it this way, start from where we left off, or start from where we started, and then do the same thing again. It can be done. It's just potentially more fiddly for you, but it's a good way to like test yourself and see how your skills are coming. If you're super new to bag making, don't do that. You're new, right? Don't put yourself in the deep end. You'll be disappointed. And I am not here to make you feel lesser than. But if you've been sewing for a while and you want to test yourself, just try it on the lining. The absolute worst case scenario here is that you have to unpick it. That's it. That's the worst case scenario. Otherwise, you might be quite chuffed with yourself and have a little happy dance moment. Either or. 1 wall, check. I'm gonna pop that over there. So this is my second one. So this will have the zipper pocket that will turn the bag through. This is not a very big bag, so it'll fit through there just fine. That's what the longer zip's for, is for the top. So we're going to fold this in half. I'm going to find the center there. Open it up. Line it up like this. I don't like my zipper pockets too high, especially when there's a zipper up there. Otherwise you can't get into them easily, and the whole point of pockets is to be easy and organized. You don't want to be fluffing around with it. 2 stitches and then 2 stitches back stitching. If you don't like the idea of back stitching, you can also pull the threads through to the back and tie them off. It is more time consuming, but it can be done. Stitch, stitch. Chop it all off. Tails, jump stitches, all of it. Then, these are currently my favorite scissors. Might change, who knows, but at the moment, the Class A rainbow with a purple handle are very comfortable. I don't know what it is about the plastic, but it is more comfortable than an all metal handle. Alright, get about 3/4 of the way from the end, triangle out those corners. You want a nice long triangle so that basically when you fold it over like this, you'll be able to top stitch it down as you sew around. I'm going to finger press this and see if it's flat enough. If not, I will get up to iron it. So I'm just finger pressing the seam. Take both pieces, shove it through. Different fabrics work differently. If this was all waterproof canvas, you could literally finger press it. But I think I am going to iron this. Now I'm going to iron. Now that it's ironed, I'm much happier. We're going to take our next zip. Another zipper full. These are what I call chunkies. I love these zippers. I don't know why. They're so basic, but they make me so happy. Put it on about 1/3 of the way, if you can. Sometimes it slips and it goes further, and I understand that these things happen, but where possible, just try and do it 1/3 of the way. So this one, I am absolutely not using double-sided tape on. I just want to show you that it can be done. So we hold it like this, lay it over the zipper, and you want the zipper pull on the zipper teeth, and then I'm just going to slide it under and then readjust. Don't know why I do it this way, I just find it works the best for me. You can also flip that down now that it's through the hole, if that's more helpful, so you can get closer to here. Whatever works for you. So, we're off. Needle down, pivot, up we go. One more stitch, pivot. Needle down, zip it up. If you want to, you can trim these, but you absolutely do not have to. You can leave them if you want. Pretty sure that just fell on the floor. Line it up, stitch it down, needle down, pivot, needle down, pivot, back the other way, back stitch after you've gone through 2 stitches. See, there's still a bit of a tail. I didn't get it all. That's okay. Do it now. Still pretty. So this time, we're only going to sew the sides. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go top to bottom on one side and then bottom to top on the other, just so I keep the bulk of the bag out of the throat of the machine. This over here is called the throat. Just if anybody didn't know that. I've got lots of useless facts today, apparently. Stitch, back stitch, lift up the needle, don't pull it when it's down, you'll bend it, and then if you try and sew with it, you'll break something. Ta-da! What a pretty lining. I mean, this whole bag's very pretty, if you ask me, but whatever. So this time, we're going to crack the zip again, and I'm going to grab the edge, and I'm going to fold it on like a 90-degree angle, like this. And then, recently learnt, you always want to start coming towards the zipper teeth. I don't know why, it just works better for me. Going away from them tends to make it move, and that annoys me. So, then we're going to fold this side down and make them match. It's all about matching the height, right? Beyond that, it doesn't really matter, to be totally honest. So I'm going to, again, lay it down, make sure it matches, and then go up towards the zipper teeth. Again, don't know why that works better, but if I do it the other way, one always goes dodgy. So you want to work towards the foldy bit, like that. And we're happy. And so now, I'm going to, so this is the inside zipper, I'm going to copy it. And I'm just going to base this onto the very edge. So that I'm doing like a top stitching length of 1/8 of an inch. And then when I get close to this bend, I'm just going to tuck it under. Now again, in the pattern, real measurements. I don't give out measurements of anyone's patterns, including my own, because that's just not cricket. Okay, zipper, so this will be the back wall. Then I'm going to grab this, And to line it up perfectly, right, and you might think I'm crazy for doing it like this, but you can literally just take this side, line it up, and do exactly the same thing we just did. And again, this might seem crazy to you, but it works. I'm also going to run out of bobbin thread again soon, I should think. That's how you do it without actually measuring, and then you can rip it open. Again, it's probably slightly more advanced technique. Just check my pattern for the measurements. I don't have the pattern measurements handy. That's not something I just carry around with me. I don't have my laptop in here today, or at least as yet. I do have some laptopy things to be doing, but they feel like they're going to be a later problem. Clip around, clip around. Oh, I've got fluff in my nose. Again, you don't have to clip it this much. I don't know why I am. Apparently I feel like it. Some days I just enjoy clipping stuff. Alright, clip this together. Oh, there's a tail. Get it. Under we go. Seam allowance. Stitch, back stitch. Now, on bigger bags, you can leave this bottom bit open to be able to turn the bag through, but this one should be totally fine with the space of the Tory pocket. But again, if you've done like some crazy thick stuff, I just messed up the seam allowance there. Did you guys see that? I was too busy talking. Come back to the corner where I started it, botching it. There we go. And while that might not seem like a big deal, look at how much it was actually different. So just veered out. We don't want that. So we fix it. Won't hurt. Nobody's going to see it. Except, I mean, the whole internet, because I'm showing you. But if I didn't tell you it was in there, you would never know. It's worth going back and fixing things. This is what happens when I'm too busy talking. Or sometimes if you're like speed demoning through stuff, it happens then too. Trim it off. But the overall bag will not suffer because I've got an extra bit of weird wonky stitching. Because it's not, it's outside the seam allowance. It doesn't matter. Now, grab our bag. We're going to turn this one right sides out. And for those that freak out about your zipper pull, you can open it now if you absolutely need to. Mine's open anyway, but not because I necessarily need it to. So, this is the front of the bag here with the zipper and the slip pocket. The back of the bag has just got a zipper. So what I want to do is I want to take the zipper pocket on the back of the bag like this. And I'm literally just shoving it in. Then I'm going to come to my short little edge, and the first thing I'm going to do is line that bit up. The two clips are already there because they're holding our strap attachments. Alright, so we're going to go here and add it into the clips that exist. Then I'm going to tuck this down, the zipper, down at the right angle. Make sure it stays where it's told. And then again, add some clips. So I'm putting a clip right on that zip, and I'm going to do one on that corner. And then we can come over here and match this corner, and then match up the middle. Not really a lot to it. All the clips are facing the lining. That's important. Right, and so again, we're going to tuck this down and under so that I don't stitch it. Hold it at its right angle and then put a clip right on top so it can't come undone later, because that would be very rude of it. You should now have a whole bunch of clips like this. So we're nearly finished. I'm going to start just anywhere on the straight bit. Doesn't really matter. I don't like to start in the corner. It's fiddly and annoying, and who can be bothered? So, because there's a zipper, the seam allowance is 1/4 inch. I can tell you that because it's the same with every pattern maker ever. If there's a zipper, the seam allowance is 1/4 inch. It's just how it works out. You can't do a bigger one. It doesn't work out. Needle down, pivot, over we go. And then you want to go just like 1/4 inch past that seam. This is probably the fiddliest part of the whole bag. The rest are all just zippers by the truck ton. Also check on your bobbin thread. Make sure that you're still stitching something. Very important. I have many a time stitched half a bag before I realize there's no thread. And feel free to squish the bag however you need to get it into where you want it. It's not going to hurt it. If this hurts it, then it shouldn't be a bag because it won't handle somebody filling it full of random stuff. That I can absolutely promise you. If it can't handle being squished under a needle, it can't handle carrying people's important daily stuff. Backstitch when you get back to the start. I made a mess. Look, it's all chunky because it doesn't matter. Nobody sees it. Okay, one last thing we're going to do. In these corners, I'm just going to trim. I'm just going to cut it. I'm not actually going to trim anything. I'm just going to cut it on an angle so that the corners are more flexible. Just a little snip. Now, if your hand's not strong enough, you come and you push the edge of the scissors and it helps. Like that. Little clip. It's just going to help us turn it through. Into the one pocket that's open at the bottom, pick a corner, any corner, and I'm going to push it down, and you essentially want to make it a hand puppet. If you can't hand puppet it, it means you haven't grabbed enough and pushed enough in. And then I like to kind of pull it, and I'm doing this. I'm keeping my hand nice and open. I'm not squeezing it because that'll obviously get me nowhere, and we're trying to turn that bit through. Once it sticks out, I take all of my pocket and I encase the whole bag in the pocket like this. If you can get it to this point, it will always turn through. And now we just gently tug. And that's it. I'm going to put my hand back in and then push on all of the edges and corners and stuff. They may be smoothed out corners, but they are still corners. Like that. Take my pocket, stick my fingers seam to seam. I pinch underneath the first knuckles worth and then tuck it under and pull tight. That doesn't work very well with cotton. It does work very well with waterproof canvas, and that's why I don't need clips most of the time. It will then line itself up. We're going to backstitch at the end, trim it. Tuck it in, zip it up, open this out, push the lining in. Just a lot of poking and prodding. I'm also going to top stitch this because I can. It does look nice, but if it freaks you out to do so, don't do it. So I'm just rolling this back and forth until I get the seam right on the edge like I want it to be, like that. This I'll do as I go. It's just the corners, because see how that one's kind of shoved in? We want to pull it out. So the best way to pull it out is to just roll back and forth and it pulls itself out. It's a magic trick. And then we're going to add clips so it doesn't disappear again. You can also clamp it depending on the fabrics you've used. If you made this out of leather, which now thinking about it, I probably should have done one in leather. You might want to clamp it with the pliers. the magic pliers. For those that don't know, these are the magic pliers. They're flat in here. They're leather working pliers. So when it squishes, it doesn't leave teeth marks. And they are absolutely amazing. Not my favorite tool. My favorite tool is snips or a sewing awl. They're both equally as amazing. So see how this is in? That's not what we want. We want to roll it and push it out because we want these edges to look amazing. And they absolutely will, because I will make them. So another option, if you're struggling with these because it's all too much, because I've made them out of vinyl, you could have stitched the bag and then put them over the top and clamped them in. Now this corner's giving me grief. There's always one. So I'm going to stick my sew all in until I get to that seam and then kind of dig it out. I don't know if you saw that. Dig it out. And out it comes. Happy days. For the most part. You'll still need to do a little bit of rolling, but rolling can only get you so far sometimes. Sometimes you just need to sew all and stab it. So far though, how freaking adorable. I'm going to go up to a 4 stitch length because I like it nice and long. And this time I'm going to kind of start on a curve. I'm not going to start directly in the corner. That's painful and annoying. But I am going to start on the curve. I'm not going to back stitch because we go all the way around. And then I'm just going to, so this hand is pulling the lining and then this hand is pulling against the zipper teeth so that it's all away and so that the top stitching on the other side looks nice. Because we don't have clips there. You could put clips there, but I personally find it more annoying. Needle down, pivot, across. I'm going to take that one clip off because it's in my way. We're going to do one more stitch, pivot, up around this corner, and make sure that we're not stitching the tail of our zipper as well. Pull it away. Again, squish the bag down. We're going to come around that corner, needle up across. Needle down, press a foot up, pivot, and then I'm going to hold these original tails so that I don't get them stuck. That's just always annoying. And then I'm going to do 2 extra stitches and then back stitch, and that's it. Stick your hands into the bag and push out all the corners. It's looking awesome. Got our side bits. Happy days. So, all that's really left now is a whole bunch of hardware. So I'm going to take my zipper and put the zipper on. Same way we always do. I pinch it, I push it, make sure that the teeth are lined up, zip it all the way to the end to make sure. It does have gaps, it's meant to. Right, and so that's the front. So this zipper and this zipper close the same way, and then when you open the bag, this zipper in here also closes the same way. This is a zipper end, for those that haven't seen one before. If you don't have these, or you don't have access to them, it's okay. The pattern has like a rectangle little bit, and you just fold it in half and then stitch it down. It's still perfectly fine. This is just next level fancy. It's pretty much all it is. Hardware makes the bag fancy. And it's now just occurred to me that I've finished the entire bag, that I should have used my very cool rainbow laser engraved tag. Too late now. This is an electric screwdriver. Apparently you can get them on Amazon. It has a light. It is amazing. Zipper end on. You can make the zipper a bit shorter, but I like it that little bit bigger, and then it just kind of tucks in. Again, each to their own. I'm going to take this and my strap adjuster and we're going to feed it through. Now am I going to stitch it or am I going to, no, I'm going to stitch this end and I'm going to rivet the other end. You don't see this bit, so it's not a huge deal. It's also why I'm not putting a strap end on this end. Nobody sees it because it's hidden inside all the strapness. And yes, I've just created strapness as a word. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I'm doing the X, so I always like to start against the hardware. It's just my personal preference. And then I do the X shape and then back stitch. See the X? I don't know if you can because of all the lines. So we have the bit facing up, and then I'm going to put the bag in front of me like this. And so we're going to go down and out from this side. And make sure it's not twisted. It's always twisted. Especially with fabric straps, I find they twist a lot easier. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to pull it and then make sure it's not twisted because I'm pretty sure it is. Oh no, there we go, we're good. So you want to make sure that there's no twist. But see, so that end is tucked inside here. So you don't see it, and that's why I don't put a strap in there. Personally, I think that one's a waste of hardware. So then from here, I'm going to come in from the outside towards the bag. And then it'll be pinned in like that. And because of that, I'm then going to grab my pretty strap end. These are really good if you want to hide raw edges too, by the way. Right, strap end on. This is my container. I've put all of the different colored tiny screws. Although Rainbow just has gold screws. So I could also just do that. Grab 2 of those. Again with the drill. Now this end is magnetized, so once I line it up, it'll stay there. Magic trick. If anybody's wondering why I'm doing that, we watched Despicable Me, and she's like, lipstick teaser, and somehow my brain does that for everything, so I apologize. All right. It's screwed in. You want to make sure that they're level or even slightly below that. So you need to run your fingers along it and it should not catch on the screw. Then I'm just going to pull that. You can get quite flexible with this part. We're going to take a hole punch and I'm going to punch a hole like that. And then take my fray lock and I'm going to put it into the hole. And this side, because this is fabric, I don't want it to die on me. I don't want it to go weird and fresh. So I'm just putting it on all 4 sides. This one I like better than the other ones because it is thick. It is not like water and it doesn't run everywhere, and that makes me very, very happy. So I'm going to poke that through. I'm going to put a cap on the back like so. And then grab this. And under we go. And squish down. Voila! How fun is that bag? Now obviously I still need to Tory squish this edge. For those that don't know what Tory squish is, I was going through a phase where I named everything after me. We roll it in our fingers until we're right on that seam, and then you violently shake it in the opposite direction of each hand. So we're going like this, opposite, and it's creating a crease, which will help it to sit where it's told. So you just have to do that to the whole bag. But that is super, super fun. I don't think this will last very long on my website. I sell these for between $60 and $65. This one will probably be $60 because it has no interfacing. Super cute, super fun. If you are going to enter my competition, you will need to be on my Facebook group, but it is international, so it's not restricted to Australia. Feel free to join. This is a really cute bag. Alright guys, bye!